First of all, would like you to explain how Rebel Foods Cloud Kitchen functions. What is the level of automation that is happening inside your cloud kitchen?
There are flat heating surfaces which we do, let's say, breads. There is an area which does, let's say, rice. So depending on what kind of food is being processed, that's how we organize it. All comes together in the brands. So when we make rice, rice is made in the same station for, let's say, a Faso's rice feast, as well as a Behrouz biryani rice. They're all different products, but that's how roughly that's how we are organized. With time, we are as you keep doing new things, you cannot have be adding more and more people. That's the direction that we take on automation. So anything that's repetitive and or that needs constant supervision, those are the things that we try to automate first. So that's the first level. So we have done things like, we have an automated fryer, which you select what you're frying, and it adjusts its temperature to the right level, and it'll take the plunger down and it'll automatically pull it up when it's done. So it knows basically what it's cooking. So that's at a skill level in terms of processes. But the bigger one obviously is at a cognitive level. So for example, if it's a recipe, what goes after what and how much of each ingredient to put, etc. That's something that's in your head. Now you can understand that the risk always is, you lose somebody who's trained, who's been working there at a particular station. It's a loss. The next guy will come in, needs to begin, go up to speed and stuff like that. So increasingly, we are also thinking about machines which have this ability. We have designed, for example, a wok, which is basically a rotating tumbler, which, if you know about Chinese cooking, and there is this thing that you do like this, it's a stir fry, which is nothing but cooking at very high temperatures, but not letting the food be exposed to that high temperature for a very long time. So you constantly churn it. But it's a very difficult, it takes years of practice to do that. So what we did is we actually, this tumbler which rotates does the same thing. It controls, it controls its temperature, and it controls the oil and water that is dispensed. All that is automatically adjusted. But we have taken it one step further, and we have attached a video screen with an app to it. So now, if you have all the ingredients and you are standing in front of that machine and you select what you want to cook, the machine basically instructs you that now put this, now put that, and it does the finishing. So that's the direction.
What goes into making a good cloud kitchen business?
A lot of people think about cloud kitchen and think, oh, it's low rental, so it's a great model. But it's actually, that's just 10% of the story, because while it's low rental, but you have to pay delivery charges, right? Delivery commission, delivery charge. That more than makes up for the rental. In a sense, the opportunity that a cloud kitchen offers is that you can be relevant for more than one customer missions. When I say mission, basically, when consumers go out to eat, depending on what the occasion is, it's a different mission. So for example, you are at home right now, and if you want to order lunch, that's a very different food consumption occasion from, let's say, on Sunday when there's the India-Pakistan match, and maybe you'll be watching it with friends. So that the mission is completely different. It's delivery only. So there is space to be relevant for more than one mission. So you can create multiple brands which are targeted for specific consumption occasions. So all of this only works when you understand digital branding, when you understand, how to, because again, your entire branding is digital. Customers are not visiting your restaurant. So you need to carve that niche in the customer's mind that, okay, this is where it fits. And more importantly, this is only something that works as long as the food is good, of course. This also works, again, when it's sort of at scale. I think it's very difficult to make one cloud kitchen work. You know what it is like out there. I mean, there's a propulsion of brands, there are so many. So very difficult unless you are able to create a brand. And if you want to create a brand without a physical presence, I think scale is very necessary.
So, secondly, what are the things that Rebel Foods has done differently from its competitors? Because you are now the first unicorn in the cloud kitchen business.
When we started life as Fasos, right? And we started with a QSR concept. We were putting high street stores and trying to sell wraps. We thought, we'll be the McDonald's of India with wraps. That was the vision. But we soon realized that, for whatever reasons, that was a very difficult concept, financially to make it work, because high street locations being not available when you need them, and the rentals being high, and you're competing with everyone. Everyone wants to be in the same high street location. We basically problem solved our way through this, right? We never started out trying to build a cloud kitchen. So we said, okay, how do we get out of this problem of location? Can we be delivery only? So we went dark somewhere in 2014. We became delivery only, much before even Swiggy or Zomato were born. And we were the first of our kind anywhere in the world. So when you think multiple brands in one kitchen, it was not like we saw a model somewhere and we thought this could work. The evolution has been our strength, because we've seen each step of the way. And we started with making food. It was, and we still make food. But the technology that we build comes from that experience of making food.
So, since you talked about Behrooz, what I've read previously from Rebel Foods is that how you've captured the biryani segment. And what I've read is that you've done that by launching two brands in the same segment, which is biryani. One is Behrooz, which is, of course, the premium brand. And then there's the Biryani Life, which is the lower price brand. So, if you could just elaborate on this strategy that you've deployed.
Once you learn how to make a biryani in a distributed manner like we do, over at a lot of places and everything, then it becomes a typical FMCG kind of game, right? The moment you do that, there will be competition. Somebody will undercut you. That's the big advantage we have, that, if you're able to make biryani, we can call it 10 different things. It can be different quantities of meat and rice. There can be slight variation in some other things. And it could be another brand. So the idea is that if you want to remain, it's the same thing. You can look at FMCG. How many kinds of washing powder does HLL have or P&G have? They'll have Surf, Excel, and Wheel. So that's the range. That's the same strategy.
Finally, what is your assessment of the cloud kitchen QSR market in India going ahead?
Fundamentally, you just compare some of the numbers. China, for example, has 70 times the number of restaurants per thousand. And when I say restaurants, I'm talking about organized chains per 1,000 people. If you look at organized real estate, retail real space, I think it's for us is about 54 square feet per 1,000 people. It is 21,000 square feet in the US. That's the reason you cannot build an Indian concept ground up unless you have very deep pockets. I mean, we have venture capital floating in now, but 10 years back, 20 years back, that was not the case. That's why this has not happened in the past. The same piece of real estate is eyed by everybody. Everybody wants to be in the same place, and there isn't enough of it. And the rents go. You would know the kind of rents people pay in cities like Bombay and spaces that are premium. So that is the reason it did not happen. And this cloud kitchen is a typical Indian leapfrog story, because that's what we did, right? Because we didn't have the infrastructure, so we said, okay, let's forget retail infrastructure. Can we be anywhere in anywhere in an area, and still build a brand?
Okay, thanks, Karol. Thanks so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Harshit. Thank you.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.